right? All kinds of relationships I'm talking about here. So this one is about children. So the title of this video is Who's Watching the Kids? Who's watching the kids? Your children, your babies, your favorite people in the whole world. Who's watching them? Some of us were out this weekend. Some are still going to go out Sunday. Some people are out right now. Of course, it's not, well, this is not that late, but it is late. But a lot of people aren't going to come in until the sun comes up. When it comes to having people look after your kids, whether it's aunt, uncle, brother, sister, neighbor, mother, father, it's not the title of the person. Because a lot of times, we feel like, well, I know so-and-so is going to take care of my kids. Excuse me. I know I don't have anything to worry about. Because they love me, they love my kids. My kids are safe. And sometimes you don't even give it a thought. You just leave them with certain people. When I was growing up, my brother and I were kids, and our childhood was kind of funky. It was. And a lot of people's childhood, was like that. Fortunately for a lot of you, it wasn't. You had both parents. They were protective. They loved you. They made sure you have everything you need, to get a good send-off, a good setup in your adult life. And that's great. It's really great. I am not excusing having a single parent for the abuse. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. I'm saying that there are a lot of people who will not mistreat your children when their father is there, when their father is in the house, when their father is playing a major role in their lives. I was watching this program. I don't know, this man was talking about some things. I don't remember everything he was talking about, but he was talking about his family and different things. And this probably was at least 8 years ago, something like that, maybe longer. And he talked about he and his other sibling, and he had either one or several. He had several. He had several siblings. And he said whenever he would visit his grandmother's house, and she'll come in the room and check on all the kids, checking the kids and all of that, he would wet the bed. Now, the reason he wet the bed is because he was afraid of her. She wasn't nice. And she chose this particular child, to abuse, to be mean to him, very verbally abusive, extremely verbally abusive to him. And she had a hatred for him. He grew up, he's successful in what he does, And he said that she picked him to abuse. She picked him. She was nice to the other children. And his parents never knew. Never said, Grandma's mean, whatever. when I was growing up, I was a child too. I was a child growing up, and I remember these things happening, to my brother and I. So my mom would go out with her friends. My mom would go to work. And I think that when we got older, we were home. You come home from school, let yourself in, lock the door, that type of thing. But when we were very young, much younger, and, and we would be with sitters. And every sitter we had was abusive. Every sitter. Okay, every sitter except one. Yeah, one. One. Just one. And we never said much about the people. It's something about the mind of children. I didn't even know what was going on. The things that would happen were crazy. Crazy. And I'm saying this hopefully to help somebody else. That's my reason and my only reason. There was one person that was about 17, 18, and my mom, when she would go out sometimes, she would have him babysit. He was our neighbor's son. And she was cordial with his father. And he had two sons. Yeah, two sons. And they were in high school. And she left us with, excuse me, one of them. And he was very abusive. He wasn't abusive the first time. I do remember that. Around the third time he sat with us is when he started to do these weird things. Excuse me. Like tie my brother up to chairs. And do terrible things, to me. And then he would tell us that we had to go to sleep when our nap time came. And if you don't go to sleep, I'm going to do this and that. So he would take matches and strike them. And he'd hold them over us. And threaten to drop them on us. And he'd put them very close. I'm going to use a pencil. Very close to our bodies. Like very close. He says, close your eyes and go to sleep or you're going to be burned. And miraculously, we went to sleep. I guess out of fear, we fell asleep. Because he would have my brother and I lie next to one another, and he would say these things to us in these whispers. Go to sleep. You know what's going to happen. You're going to be burned. And he'd have the matches, and he'd strike them over and over again. And we'd smell the sulfur from those matches. Yeah, it's a lot of things. And there's the things he did with hot water and just all kind of crazy things. I don't know what it was, but we didn't say anything about, I didn't say anything about the other situations or those terrible things that happened to us with another sitter. And then there were times that I would be with a sitter and my mom would take my brother to the doctor, so I would get the abuse from someone in their 50s, 60s. But the one time I did say something, well, I said something and my brother spoke up too, was with the guy who was striking the matches, but we didn't say what he did. And to this day, I don't know why. We didn't say he does this, he does that. We just said, we don't want him to babysit us anymore. And my brother said, no, we don't like him. We don't want him to babysit us anymore. And so he didn't. But he had abused us probably, I don't know how many times before we said that. And so what happened is his brother was the sitter. His brother would read comic books, things like that, fix us a snack or whatever. And that's it. And he, talk on the phone, whatever, but that's it. He didn't, do anything harmful. And there were other sitters, as I said, that were abusive. And one was a friend of my mother's son. She would go out with her sometimes at night, they go out, and he would have toys and everything. And my brother would be on the floor because my brother's younger. So my brother would be on the floor playing with the toys. We were both little children. And my brother would be playing with the toys and stuff. And then he would be distracted. And then he would take me and do whatever. And this man had to be 50s. And I was probably 7. So that made my brother 4. So these things were happening more to me than him because she would take my brother to the doctors or whatever. Sometimes she'd go shopping, because he's the youngest, and she would take him with her, and I would be with the sitter. And yeah, a lot of things would happen with different people. And that kept going until I was about, 10. And I know my brother confronted her and argued with her and told her how he felt. And he let it all out. And he still carried the hurt and the anger for those things happening. I'm going to do a part 2 on this, I think. Yes, I am. But I want you to think how we have such good intuition, and we do. Ladies, when it comes to these type of things, it's hard to wrap your mind around it, And a lot of us don't catch it. Because when you have an entity or whatever you want to call it, a person with that bad energy, that bad spirit in them to do these things, they manipulate you first. Sometimes it's someone you're dating. Now with us, it wasn't someone my mom was dating. It was her neighbor's son. And then one was a girl, and she was her neighbor's daughter. And then there were just people that she felt were okay because they were older gentlemen, older men, she felt they were gentlemen, older men. And they would be okay watching me. We don't suspect it. And a lot of people have relatives that are that way, that are pedophiles, that are abusive, that mistreat the children. Be careful when you see your child talking to someone. That's another thing. And when you approach, then it's over. And when you ask that question, what were you talking about? Or they just stopped talking, but they're not telling you what they were talking about. without any names, I'm going to share a couple of things that have happened to people. Now, I'll be back with the part 2 of this in a little bit. And I'll talk some more about just going a little bit deeper into something, okay? So anyway, I want you to keep your eyes open, ears open, watch and listen. And it is not always obvious. Not always. So I will be back with part 2 in a little bit.